Morning. Put that there because I have two thermometers there by the south wall. I was doing a test to see the difference between the side where it's got those couple bushes and the side that's fully open. So that test is done now. And many times I've come across, I'd like to be able to just snip out and grab a couple herbs and go back in and do my cooking or make a tea or whatever. But I didn't want to go way up across to the other side of the garden. So that's why I wanted to bring my herb garden down to here. And you got the house there behind you. You got the big shed here. You've got the little shed there. And if I can get that fence done for the grapevine, with the grapevine up there, there's kind of a windbreak there. So this area would be like a little courtyard. So I'm going to take one of the thermometers and put right there and see what the temperature is here relative to the other areas in the yard. December the 13th and not a speck of snow on the ground. The temperature went up to like 14.5 or something. According to the last forecast I looked at, we're not going to get any snow, maybe a flurry or two until Christmas. There's a bit of snow forecast for Christmas Day, and that's it. Wondering how this looks like on a high speed walkabout here. Certainly I'd be starting to be able to see that I'm clearing out the big trees up there. You can see the piles that I've got made. These cabbages aren't dead, eh? I mean, we did have a couple of nights down below -10, but it was only a couple. This is what happens when you cut down an apple tree and kind of wanting to wait for the branches to get big enough to be usable. I guess that one is laying right out there. I'll have to cut that off. And just be a coppicing thing, because apple wood is a hard wood. And it's good for firewood. It's also good for many other things. So the leaves are just starting to fall. Like, they're dead really, but they just didn't fall. And ready to be brought in for tea. You see? Over here, when I bring the ashes out in the fall, if there's no snow on the beds, I'll just sprinkle it directly on the bed. So that's what this black stuff is. You can see on these two beds here, and a bit on that one in there. So check out the kale, eh? And it's just beautiful. I can harvest that, and I'm trying to make a dip, right? I like to take it is full leaves rather than have a salad. I like to take the full leaves and then carrot sticks and that kind of thing and dip it in a salad dressing. So you can go back in my videos, or if you remember, every once in a while I didn't really clean up that area of the branches when I cut down those trees over a year ago now. So a couple of days ago I did. Now you see the green in under there. That's from another area. But this is the pile of branches there now. The aspen pile that was down below. Then I just put those branches on top of it, along with the branches from one of the big fir trees. So that's where the other one fir tree was. I don't have those cleaned out because the branches are back in the woods, and when I get to that point, then I'll clear, right? They're not in the way, and they're not being a eyesore. I have an idea to do with these small birch pieces, so that's why they're not cleaned up yet. I got to get onto that. But here's where that leaning tree was, and I've got most of the branches taken out of there. And of course, this time of year, with the leaves off the deciduous trees and the like, you can see that this area is still pretty wide open. Not a whole lot growing there. Our cherry trees are pin cherries. This is the biggest that they come. And a lot of times they'll die before that. Oh. Got another couple trees in there that recently leaned over. They weren't there a couple of days ago, leaning like that. The reason why I can point those out every once in a while is because, like I've been saying in the past, this forest has grown up. You can see that big leaning one there. He's been leaning like that for a little bit now. And they've been sitting there now for quite a while with what I call the old growth bark, right? So they're not old growth per se, but they're basically in the same condition. So every time we get a windstorm, I go around and see what trees has shifted. That's an old habitat pile I made years ago, but it's mostly birch, so that's why it's not really, you can see a lot of hard wood on it, right? You see what I mean by cherry trees not getting very big before they die. There's a lot of cherry trees around like that. I'll swing around here. And you see those with the just shaking back and forth, the branches are cracking. There's one over there with the fungus wrapped right around the tree. They're susceptible to black knot, but not overly, not as bad as the plum tree you see on this one here. All the fuzzy lichens that's on it. It's just a small tree, right? So that's basically normally what we get with cherry trees. Like, there's a couple of bigger ones that did that one that I pointed out, but there's another one that is leaning out on the trail coming up that maybe I should make some boards out of it and see what it's like, because they're bigger and it's rare around here to get a big cherry tree. Picked up all the wood, and then I need 2 or 3 more loads to fill in that one area. So I come up and I burn the tank of gas in the chainsaw and cut up some wood. There hasn't been good weather to get out and get it since then. Yesterday it was really blustery, and the day before it was raining, and I fell down this tree. Now, I meant to fall out this way, but for some reason it fell perpendicular to the way I was trying to get it to fall on. I don't know why. It fell down along there. It was fairly easy to cut up, but I want to dig around that and cut it right down low and pull it off there with the quad to see if I can make anything interesting out of this rather than just burn it for firewood. Don't remember how it was when I showed you the dead edge before, but today is dull and the lighting is good to do a little scan down across there and see how the dead edge delineates the edge to the property, right? So I was up here, actually. I have the router cleared out. So I zoom in. That window there beside the door, we're probably looking straight at the router for the internet. So I was up here talking to my mother and sister over the internet, and I said, you know, I should put a bench up here until those trees grow up. I could sit on a bench here and I got a nice view out over the bay. Don't know how many years it's going to take for those trees to grow up, but just for now, that'd be a nice place to sit. There's a cherry tree in there. If you look way up, notice the extra fungus on it, so it's probably not that healthy. It wasn't the one I was thinking about though, it was this one here. Now those 2 spruce trees, they look very healthy and they're not in the way of anything. The only thing is, of course, the branches are rubbing on that cherry tree there. And up there. And the tree is leaning over a little bit, so I was thinking I'd take that one out of there and just let the 2 spruce trees do their thing. Actually, do I have another one? No, that's the branches growing out there. So that's not as big as the one up above, but still, once again, it might be something that I could get some hardwood woodworking stuff out of. So I never done anything with chipping up, but next year I'm going to be more serious about getting onto chipping branches. Maybe make sure I do it once a week or something like that. Of course, there was apples higher up in the tree, and they were falling off when the weather was getting below freezing. So I didn't get these. These have been frozen before I would get a chance to get them, right? There's still some hanging onto the tree up there. But seeds sitting right beside the parent tree here is not going to do any good, really. So I came up with an idea. Check how many I just picked up. Rabbit buttons. So you remember all the little trees that grew up in that onion bed because I had put apples in the compost? So I thought that I would come up here and throw around apples, because they're not going to do anything down by the apple tree down there. But they might hear, and any tree that grows up, I'll be inspecting to make sure that it is a tree I want to grow there. For the most part, I'll be just cutting down aspen. And I'll throw these apples around. Now, I just did that and I didn't have the camera on, so I have quite a few apples thrown around here now. And I'll go over to the other side and throw around some more. As Kevin of Canadian permaculture legacy would say, plant like a squirrel. It would be nice if we could catch everything we see. Just as I walked out the door and I was about to do this, I didn't have the camera on, and there was a squirrel planting something in one of my garden beds. Don't know what he was planting. There! Apple trees planted. I don't see much sign of rabbits at Snowshoe Air, actually. When the snow was down. But they're definitely around. You see, there's the rabbit buttons, and I did see some over on the other side as well. They're fairly fresh.